But Jade Helm was a kind of an early warning about how fake news can be mainstream, especially when the misinformation is powered through fact-free partisan politics, and especially when fringe believers just want to hear candidates say they'll look into some theory. It's a rhetorical specialty of the candidate who took conspiracy theories to another level this year, Donald Trump, and he was perhaps eclipsed only by Ben Carson for peddling things that he should have known better than to peddle. Dr. Ben Carson was definitely not using the scientific method when he offered up theories like this.
Mahmoud Abbas of the Palestinian Authority and Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader of Iran, were both classmates in the class of 1968 at Patrice Lumumba University in Moscow, where they became acquainted with a young Vladimir Putin. So these are deep ties.
Deep. Well, those three people actually were not classmates in Moscow or anywhere. For starters, Putin's a good decade and a half younger than the other two. Ben Carson later said he learned about the ties between those leaders from advisors across the government that he wouldn't name, including the CIA, and he added, "There's a lot more information I've gotten that's probably not appropriate for revelation." Or there was the time Carson asserted the Chinese had deployed troops in Syria.
We also must recognize that it's a very complex place. The Chinese are there as well as the Russians, and you have all kinds of factions there.
Now, that could have been a simple misstatement. We all make them. But what's important is that rather than deal with that kind of defense, Carson aides just doubled down. They said their own special intelligence determined China had deployed in Syria, which it had not. Ben Carson was getting a lot of weird and accurate information from a lot of mysterious places during the campaign, and we've not even mentioned the story he likes to tell about how there was a Star of David on the back of the $1 bill. Spoiler, there isn't one. Or his theory that the pyramids in Egypt were not built by the Egyptians and were actually used as grain silos, no matter how many archaeologists protested. And Dr. Ben Carson today, as you may have heard, is officially Donald Trump's nominee for the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, which is strange on a few levels. The fact that Carson, though he is a remarkable surgeon, has no qualifications for a federal housing agency. The fact that during the campaign, Trump called him a pathological person and compared him to a, quote, child molester at one point. And the fact that Carson, according to his closest advisor just today, still doesn't feel qualified for the job or want it.